Well, hey there, campers, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Camp Cryptid. I'm your host, Erica Fett, and today I am so excited because I am not only here for a new episode, I am joined by one of my dear friends who is also one of the most incredibly talented people that I have the pleasure to know, Gabe Braxton. He is amazing. Yes, he is an amazing screenwriter, director, musician. Is there anything, Gabe, that you can't do at this point?
Oh, you're really asking? You want me to? Well, let me think. I'm not very good with cars. Okay, so I'm not gonna like be oil changing and stuff like that. So I'll call.
Well, that's one thing for now until he learns it, and then he's like, "Well, I mastered that." But Gabe, you want to give a little introduction to yourself, a little bit about you as a person, and then we can kind of dive into all the goodies.
Yeah. Well, my name's Gabe Braxton. I am from the West Coast, so I was born and raised south of Seattle in a town with a weird name called Federal Way. And that's where I spent most of my life. I've been living in the picturesque Commonwealth of Virginia for the last 7 years or so. And I love it here. It's my favorite place I've ever lived. It's most inspiring artistically and creatively place that I've lived. And I used to be a Christian. I used to be religious, and I deconverted. That's sort of a huge part of my story and who I am, and that shows up in my work. And I also used to be a police officer, so I'm an ex-cop as well, and that shows up in my work. Also, when it comes to investigations and figuring stuff out, and we're gonna talk, about my movie today, and there's a big investigation in the whole movie and trying to come to a realization of what's going on. So yeah, I started screenwriting back in, I think 2019, or I think it was. I had a YouTube channel that was kind of growing pretty well. I did vlogs and weekly vlogs and stuff. It was growing well at the time. But I had a friend of mine that was like, "Hey man, you're pretty good at this. Have you ever thought about doing something narratively?" And I was like, "Well, no." And then eventually I jumped in. I wrote my first short, and then I think maybe a year or so after that, I wrote a feature. And I was really scared to write a feature because I felt like, man, I need to have somebody, a partner, a writing partner. But I decided to just do it myself, and it worked out really well. And yeah, so, I got into filmmaking, through YouTube, but I've always been interested in filmmaking and stuff. I vlogged back when vlogs didn't exist. I went on a mission trip. I forget what year. I think it was 2007 to Peru, and I vlogged it. And I don't have any of the footage, which is unfortunate. But
I was that surprised. Why haven't I seen this?
Yeah, I know. You haven't seen it because I haven't seen it. I did it on a camcorder that had mini DVs, and it wasn't digital, so mini DVs. And I gave it to a family friend. I was like, "Hey, can you turn this into digital for me?" And I've never seen the footage ever since. So I don't know what they did with it or whatever, but that's sort of where my journey really kicked off. But I've always been interested in film and whatnot, and filmmaking. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I do music, like you mentioned. I am working on an EP right now. It's all monogamous love songs and stuff like that.
I love it.
Thank you. And I also have two little girls I'm really, really proud of. Ages 9 and 11. So shout out to them. They're actually in the movie as well. They giggle and laugh in the movie. So that was fun.
I love that.
Having them do that. But yeah, that's sort of me. Was into rap music and video games growing up, and I'm a nerd probably at heart. Maybe a little bit cringe at times, but you got to be cringe in order to make your dreams come true. So, yep.
Yeah, love that. It's so funny you said something about vlogging, because that's actually how I found your feature film, A Gettysburg Haunting, through the fundraising, because I saw your blogs. Yeah. It was almost the universe was let's bring these two people into a friendship, because it was I hopped on Twitter one day, and then I saw your post come up, and it had all your almost your video vision board for what you wanted for A Gettysburg Haunting, and I was like, dude, this is vibes. I love this.
Thank you.
And then the rest is history. So you talked about A Gettysburg Haunting, your first feature film.
Yeah.
So tell, for everybody who hasn't, seen Gabe's posts or my post about it, tell everybody kind of like a little introduction to A Gettysburg Haunting.
Okay, well, I'll start off by saying this because I was told I should start by saying this because I was at AFF, Austin Film Festival, last year, and I was telling people about my movie when they asked, and I, like, halfway through telling them, they were like, you should probably start out with this point. So the point is that over half of the United States believes in ghosts. So over 50% of the United States believes in ghosts, okay? And so A Gettysburg Haunting is about a clairvoyant transient who's traveling across the United States to go visit his grandmother because he can't get a hold of her over the telephone. And he hasn't heard from her, and she was sick. So he's traveling to go visit her because he's concerned and wants to see what's going on. But since he's transient, obviously he doesn't have a means of paying for his way across country. So he uses his clairvoyance, his abilities, in order to, like, couch hop, basically. And he finds an ad that someone put out who wants to use his abilities to speak to the dead. And so he ends up, and this is where we meet him, he ends up at a eerie person's house in the middle of the woods. And side note, he's black. The person that he ends up at the house is, like, that person's white. And this person wants to go viral through a radio show, which, it sounds stupid because nobody's really doing radio right now. We're doing podcasts. Exactly. What we're doing right now is podcasts. But, like, this person's like, yeah, I want to do a radio show. And he wants to go viral. So he wants to, be popular and sort of, like, do something what he calls significant. And our protagonist, his name's Andre, the black guy, and the other guy's name's Thomas. He sort of gets roped into this radio show. And while they do the seance, he loses his ability to talk to the dead. And so while at that point we might think, okay, well, Andre should just continue and move on his journey, Thomas had already made it very clear to him that since he is on foot, he's going to be going through what he calls Confederate country, meeting, people who are sort of like stuck in the past. And being black, Andre's a bit nervous about that. But Thomas says, hey, look, what we'll do is I'll buy you a plane ticket so you can skip all that BS and go straight to see your grandma, who is in Arkansas. And if only though, if you, we figure out why you can't talk to the dead. And once you are, have your ability back, then we conjure up some evil spirits, because that's what's going to sell. That's what's going to go viral, is like evil spirits and stuff. And Andre, decides to do it. And there's a little more to him making his decision that you'll see in the movie, but he decides to do it. And that leads them down sort of a rabbit hole of trying to figure out why he lost his ability to speak to the dead. That leads them all the way to Gettysburg, where there's sort of like this showdown, so to speak. So yeah, that's A Gettysburg Haunting in a nutshell.
I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah. When it comes to like Gettysburg, is there anything that like inspired you with writing this, that like something like clicked and you were like, okay, that's that's the story right there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it had a few evolutions. So, like I mentioned before, I'm from the West Coast, and there's no battlefields on the West Coast. And if you're listening on the West Coast, you might be like, well, what do you mean battlefields? Well, here on the East Coast, you'll drive around and you'll see like markers that'll like be and there'll be a field, and that's literally a battlefield of like that took place like in the Civil War and different wars throughout the history of the U.S. And so they have these like markers everywhere. Like you can find plaques, and they'll it's about the history of what happened in that area. And when I first moved over here, my dad wanted to take me to Gettysburg, and I had never been to a battlefield, never been to Gettysburg. So we went, and it was huge, humongous, and very, very overwhelming in a good way. It was very breathtaking. And I remember sitting and watching, I forget what it's called. It was like, they have like a little history video and stuff like that. And just the whole, like the experience and thinking like, wow, like if this battle hadn't gone the way that it did, because, if you don't know, over 50,000 people died like at Gettysburg, during the Civil War. And it was one of the battles that really turned the tides in favor of the Union to end slavery. I don't want to get into the nuances of like, well, did Abraham Lincoln actually, give a shit about slavery and shit like that? It's like, okay, well, I don't care if he did or not didn't. I'm just glad that it ended. And so being there at Gettysburg, it was just very like touching and very it feels like I dodged a bullet, basically. Like how being African American in this country, it feels like I dodged a bullet. And so I was like, wow, this is like a very impactful place. But also I learned that it's considered a paranormal hotspot. Like people to this day, like tourists, there's people who actually live there at Gettysburg and they live like all where the battlefields are and stuff like that, in historic homes. They hear, they see, they feel like ghosts presence, the presence of ghosts and stuff. And I was like, wow, it's like very interesting. And I'm into horror. So I was thinking, wow, I wonder if I could write a story that incorporates, some history here, and some ghost stuff. And that's sort of what bred A Gettysburg Haunting. And the interesting thing about it, like I thought of this idea after I wrote my first and made my first short film. And I hadn't really known much about screenwriting and how to write a feature film. And so I thought of the idea and originally thought I'm going to do found footage. This will be like a found footage movie, because that's typically what is easier, even though I think found footage films are extremely difficult if you're actually trying to, do them correctly. So that was the original idea, was to do found footage, but I put it on the back burner so I could learn how to write, basically. And I was trying to get repped for a while, and then that didn't happen. And so I thought, okay, well, let me like make this movie. So it went from found footage to super, super low budget. And then, kind of skipping ahead here a little bit, but do you hear feedback?
No.
Oh, okay, my bad. I started hearing feedback.
No, it sounds good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
skipping ahead a little bit, we did a fundraiser, and then we got picked up by a company in the UK called Wolf Shoulder Films to help produce it even further. And I actually rewrote it again. Like my original idea, I had my original idea. I didn't go with that, and then I wrote a different idea, and then that's what they read, and they wanted me to bring out some more aspects of some things. And so I rewrote it again. But that is how A Gettysburg Haunting basically came to be. It started as a thought in my brain, which is crazy to think about when I think about it. And now it's like in post-production and going strong. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I've been to Gettysburg too. And like you said, it is a place where you go and you just look and you're like, wow. Mm-hmm. Like they have like the marker on the fields where it's like the northernmost that the Confederates got. Mm-hmm. And it's like, damn, like all these people were out there fighting for what was right. You know what I mean? And it's mm-hmm. like just knowing too that so many people passed away in like 3 days, and then knowing that even to this day there's people who hear drums, they hear screams, they hear rifles going off, you know what I mean? It's like really honestly, and I think before I was like really attached to that, didn't I send you some books on Gettysburg? Yeah, I sent you books on Gettysburg ghosts.
I think I have it like right over there.
Yeah. And it's like you don't realize, like, even going to Gettysburg, I mean, there are inns, there are shops, there are so many places there that are supposedly still haunted. Mm-hmm. And so like tying in this such an important place for this country into, horror, which to me has never really been done. Mm-hmm. And parts of the film were actually filmed at Gettysburg, right?
Yeah.
I
spent the day filming at Gettysburg.
Yeah. So I think that, it's such an iconic like film, and I can't wait for it to be out, and it's like so exciting that your vision is like coming to life.
Thank you.
With that being oh gosh, I know, I'm like, every time I go to like a convention, I have like my little Gettysburg Haunting thing hanging up, and they're like, when's that coming out? I'm like, soon. Now with that being said, as amazing as the process was, like writing it, collaborating with Wolf Shoulder Films, were there any roadblocks or like struggles you found, for making your first feature film? First feature film. I can't tell. First feature film. Wow. Or, I know it was, or any like advice you would give to someone who's like an aspiring writer or director.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So,
Loaded question.
yeah, but it's good. It's good. Let me try and like narrow it down to something simplistic so people can take something away from it.
Yeah.
So I would say the biggest roadblock, when it's gonna be probably yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah, of course, there like when it comes to Gettysburg Haunting, where they're like like exterior roadblocks and stuff. Like yes, there were quite a bit. We switched DPs 3 different times within the first 6 days. So that was a bit of a hiccup for the production. But an even bigger hiccup is going to be yourself, right? It's going to be what you think that you can do with whatever tools that you have. And, there were some nights where I was just thinking about like this project and the fact that like I was involving other people, and I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, do you even have the steam to do this, the motivation to do this? And now you're involving other people, and like, well, what if like, you do your crowdfunding campaign and you fail, and then people won't want to support you? You know what I mean? There's so many fears that go through your head, and it's so easy to either listen to all those fears at the very beginning or throughout some part of the process of going out and trying to accomplish something, and in this case making this movie that could stop you, that you could justify, and say like, well, this is a good enough fear to stop right here, and I would say, like if you want to go out and do something and make something, do it, write it with what basically. So the very first version of A Gettysburg Haunting, I wrote it knowing that I could 100% film it myself. If you don't know how to film, like there's so many resources, like whether it's filming or writing, there's so many resources. Like I'm a self-taught screenwriter. You can go on YouTube, there's books, also, there's communities on Twitter where you can find other people and find encouragement and whatnot. So I would say like the biggest roadblock, I don't know, is that a good enough one? Like to say self, basically,
like self-doubt.
Self-doubt. Yeah. Basically, I just want to like internalize it a bit, because I think like that's probably the biggest one that was the hardest to get over, to be honest. Like all the other ones, I had people around me to help out and figure out, but that self-doubt I didn't have anybody to help me figure that one out. I just had to basically ignore it and like, get through those nights and just say, I can do this, so. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, when you said screenwriting Twitter, since I've like been your friend and stuff, like I've started following some of the people and honestly, it's such a good community. So absolutely, like I'm not even a screenwriter, and like y'all are so positive and encouraging and just so supportive of each other. It's like, it's honestly inspiring. So 100%, if you are an inspiring screenwriter, definitely take Gabe's advice. Go to the screenwriting Twitter, because I'm telling you, such a wholesome group of like super supportive people that just like cheer each other on, and it's honestly it's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like like everybody not everybody, like majority, like the core people who worked on the movie, we all met on Twitter. And we didn't know each other, like we had never really met each other. Like my co-producer Tom, like I had met him, because he lives like an hour and a half away from me, so we met up and whatnot. But we met through Twitter. That's how we first met, was like through Twitter.
Yeah. And
everybody on like that is the core community of A Gettysburg Haunting, like the above the line and whatnot. And some people below the line as well. Like that's where we first met. It was on Twitter. We came together. We had a vision. Like people supported me, which was, I'm very, very thankful for, and supported my vision and latched onto it. And so it became a collective vision. And we got together in West Virginia and we made a movie. It's kind of insane, actually.
And not only in West Virginia, in the middle of West Virginia, where literally our phones were in SOS mode and we had no service, like I would say about 80% of the time.
Yeah, we were rural.
It was. And when he said like the giving like the little like little bit about A Gettysburg Haunting, I'm telling you, it's a creepy area, because we were filming stuff at night and I was like looking behind me like, did I just hear something?
Yeah. Like, it's a spooky area. Yeah, it's fun. I love it out here.
It was. Now, when you were in Gettysburg, visiting, even just for a Gettysburg Haunting, and prior to that, with the impact and the history, did you feel any like vibes, or did you feel anything like any of the times, I guess, going in there where you just felt like, yeah, this is eerie. Like, this is not only just for the impact, but just in general, just being in certain places because I know that you filmed in places that were like haunted for sure. Did you feel anything like, oh, is something looking at me, or, oh, is this like...
No, I didn't feel much of anything like that. I think I think I would like especially the first time I went, I was just so like mind blown that it was just like, and honestly, like even if I felt eerie, it'd be hard because it's so overcome with excitement because I like shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to pinpoint like if I felt eerie, like, and it wasn't at Gettysburg, it was at the cabin, like where our cabin was, where we were staying, because we were like out in the woods and it was pitch black. Where I was housed along with a few other people. That was eerie. Yeah, I felt like that. I felt that was definitely eerie. And some of the things on set felt eerie at times, but yeah.
Yeah, because I tried to send y'all before I got on set. I tried to send y'all like big boxes of like goodies and snacks and stuff, just because I'm like a mom, and like half of the things wouldn't even get delivered. I'm like, so that's where we're going. Amazon isn't even delivering to this place. Awesome.
Right. Because I had to like go like to the local post office and like figure out what was going on. Yeah, and thank you so much for doing that.
Oh no, I love hearing the stories about Edwin waking up in the middle of the night.
I was gonna mention that. That was like one of the eeriest things. So like it was basically like every night, like in the middle of the night, I hear like creaking down the hall, and I'm like, well, I got my door locked. I'm cool. I'm good to go. Like everybody else is sort of screwed, but I got my door locked to my bedroom, so like I'm good. And I'm like, damn, like this is kind of spooky. Like this sounds like a ghost. And it just turned out to be like our lead actor, Edwin Green, in the middle of the night going to grab Erica's snacks that she sent, some cookies, and then bringing them back to his room. Like, okay.
I love those
spooking the shit out of me, but yeah.
Yeah, Edwin is so funny. Yeah, it was amazing to see him and Edwin Green and then Jeremy G, who were the leads of it. Just they knew each other prior to this, and honestly, it was like such a good chemistry between the two. Yeah. And I don't want to give anything away, but they busted their asses to make some of these scenes work, and I just like it's like inspiring. So, I love that he was a little cookie monster at night.
Yeah.
That's one thing about me, as I was talking to Gabe before this, and I was like, listen, even if I can just like help out and just be like making sure everybody's taken care of like that, I love doing that. I love doing snacks and crafty.
She's good at it too, guys. Yeah, she made sure people were fed and taken care of, and
I love it.
It's very nice. It's very good to have. So like if anybody listening to this and you want to hire Erica, you should.
I just like doing everything. I just like making sure people are taken care of. I feel like that's my calling, is to be like a mom, like a set mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know you grew up on the West Coast, right? But being on the East Coast, and being all over basically, do you have a favorite cryptid or urban legend that you think just kind of always sat with you, or like, yeah, that's badass, I love that?
Oh man, like, okay, so I would say I like them all, right? Yeah. But like being from the Pacific Northwest, I gotta give it to Bigfoot, because that's like, with the lore of him is all over the Pacific Northwest and stuff. Oh yeah. And because it's like a rainforest up there, so it's very, very green. It's like tons and tons of woods. It's very, you guys have seen Twilight, so it's very gray. It's very gloomy. It's perfect for him to hide, So I would say Bigfoot is definitely my favorite. I do like, but I like them all. Like like I love the lore of like Wendigo. I love the movie Antlers that came out about the Wendigo. I love Mothman. Yeah. So many. Yeah.
Yeah. And Virginia's got so many, being in Virginia alone with the, the history and everything going down there's so much haunted stuff and so many legends and so many like little things around there too. You were into horror and stuff. Was there anything that, even like prior to you writing and being a creative, was there ever anything that you experienced that was like supernatural or unexplained that you think that kind of like contributed you to being more like into like the horror aspect?
Oh, well, I would say, can I break them down to like two different separately? Yeah. So like the thing that really got me into like horror, because I've always been sort of interested in like dark like darker things, right? Like when I'm watching The Lion King, like, yeah, Simba, awesome. But like the hyena is like my favorite animal. And so when you have like, Scar and, and he, is in the dark side of the land and he's singing like Be Prepared. Like I love that as a kid. Like absolutely love that. Like Hook, there's, I think one of the, probably like I don't want to say underrated, but like there's a scene in Hook that's like pure horror, and it's after the kids get kidnapped and the parents come home, and there's like the slash marks of the hook going up the stairs, and they're following like the signs of Hook having been there and taken the kids, and it's like so like terrifying. But like one of the things that really got me interested in like on sort of like a deeper level was I had a friend who had the Book of Shadows, and it was just like a spell book, and it was big and thick and gnarly looking. And I was like over at her house with some friends, and I was like going through it, and I was just like, wow, this is like so cool. And it's, it's Wicca, right? But I just was like, this is awesome. And that kind of spiked that interest for me. Now, as far as like, a like sort of eerie or supernatural event that was unexplainable that happened to me, I think I have like a few of them. I was actually just recently talking to my girlfriend about one, and it was when I was a teenager, and I was laying down. I had a waterbed, and I was laying down on my bed. It wasn't quite like it's at night, but it wasn't like time for bed yet. But I was just laying there in the dark. I had my bedroom door open, and I don't know if I was dozing in and out. I don't remember what I was doing, but there all of a sudden there were like 3 really tall looking like beings like in my room, like off to my right. And I was just like laying there, and I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck's going on? Except I didn't say any of that because at the time I was a Christian. So I don't know. I said, oh my gosh, what the heck is happening? I don't really know. But
what the heck are you?
Yeah. What in tarnation?
What in tarnation?
Some shit like that, right? Yeah. And I couldn't move. So like now, like I know it's like sleep paralysis. That's probably like what I was experiencing back then. I didn't really understand. But I was like, oh no, like I can't believe this is happening. PG version. Yeah. So they started like moving though, and they had like really like long. They were probably 8 feet tall, and they had like really long like fingers, like really really like long like. They sort of remind me of the Nazgul in Lord of the Rings, right? Like that sort of like, and it probably was my imagination. I don't know. Like, look, I'm trying to like, what is it? Rationalize that sometimes. But
like, no, it was, there's got to be a rational explanation.
Yeah.
Totally.
So they had like these really long fingers. And I remember one, because, so like in front of me was my bedroom window, and it was lighter outside. So you can kind of see, I don't know what you call it, like the contrast, right? So it was like dark and then sort of light, and then these figures moved in front of the window. So you see this like shadow thing move in front of the window, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's it doing? And then I felt it like tugging on my legs, and I'm like, I felt myself sliding down the bed, and I'm like, what's gonna happen if I like get to the floor and whatnot? And so like at the time in my head, I'm like praying, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need help. And then I all of a sudden could move. I shot up in my bed, and the thing like basically like flew out the window, and I sat onto the side of my bed, and I was like breathing hard. And my sister, she heard me yell, and so she went to the bottom of the stairs because my bedroom door was like right in front of the stairs, and she was like, what happened? Like, are you okay? And it was just, that was sort of like a weird experience for me. There's a few other ones that are sort of like that, and I've had some here in this house that I live in like now. But like that was probably like one of the major ones where I was like, wow, that's a, really weird.
Yeah. So, it's so funny when people have experiences. It's like we almost try to come up with like rational explanations to like help us like deal with the reality that it could have been something unexplained,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Do you think that having that experience is kind of something you carried over into writing, knowing that some of these things that maybe that you write about when it comes to horror, some things are just like unexplained, and some things are just like, yeah,
I would say like definitely, it's like I would say, I think we've talked about it before. I'm like I'm like, I don't believe in it, but it's like, but I don't not believe in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it translates over. Like, there's definitely a aspect of life that we just aren't, that we're like unaware of, right? And we're constantly like learning, like very science based. So we're constantly like learning these different things. Like there's you know, like infrared technology or like night vision technology where you can see things that you can't see with your actual eye, but we're creating tools where we can like sort of see these things. But yeah, definitely. I think like it's fun to sort of delve into and play around with when it comes to like on the page and like writing and whatnot. One of the inspirations for A Gettysburg Haunting was the law of conservation, which says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. And that's very interesting, you know, because we are energy. Like we know that scientifically that we are energy, and if we can't be destroyed, when we, you know, just might be turning into something else, you know, and within this universe. And that was a quote that was used to be at the beginning of the movie. It's no longer at the beginning of the movie, but that definitely did play into like writing that film and you know, having these sort of like weird experiences. And I am a definite fan of this podcast and hearing other people's experiences. It's really neat. It's really fun to like, you know, think about basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that. When it comes to, you know, new movies, and I guess like there's always ideas, right? Especially from your own experiences. Are there any new horror projects that you're working on, or like any new like thoughts of something that you were like, oh, I love this idea, I want to do that?
Yes, definitely. I'm currently writing. And I'm hoping to have it done in December. But yeah, writing it, working with you on it, working with Tom Schrack. And I don't want to give away too much, but it's gonna be bloodier, definitely, and lean more slasher. Whether or not it's gonna be full on slasher, I don't know just yet. But definitely working on like a new project, which is I'm really thrilled about.
Yeah.
And it's also, I guess I could say it's gonna, you know, it's sort of like a one location project. So it's you know, like a low budget, but very, very fun and engaging.
Yeah.
Movie that we're working on.
I love that you said it's going to be more bloody, because during A Gettysburg Haunting, when I had to have blood in my mouth and stuff, I was like, girl, that tastes so good. Put more in there. Like, give me more of that blood. I'd like walk over to her, like, I'd be like, you got any more of that blood? Like,
that's so good. I love that.
I was like, just fill my mouth up with it. It was so good. It tasted like vanilla. I was like, this is so good.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was good.
I should have got a shot or something.
I know. Next time, I'll be like, I got the blood.
Got the hookup.
Yeah, it was really good though. I was like, oh my god, this is so good.
That's so cool.
Now you did mention earlier that you are a fan of found footage. Is that like something you would like to do, found footage movie wise in the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have an idea. I have a lot of notes. I thought, you know, originally thought we were going to be doing found footage for this next film. Yeah. Decided not to. So for a while there, for months, all I was watching was found footage and just like writing things down and like creating sort of like a do's and don'ts for myself and laying down the foundation of a found footage movie. Another one that I'm like pretty excited to do sometime. So yeah, definitely. I'm a huge fan. I probably would say I'm a bit of a found footage snob, to be honest with you. So like, yeah, I'm a huge fan of found footage genre.
Yeah, I was going to you to ask you what movies I should watch, because I was like, I also love found footage, and that's like one of the things we bonded over was like our love for found footage. And I would be like, yo, what's that? What's this? And you sent me the one. What was the one where it was like they were at the tunnel and it was like alien abductions? Was that Alien? What was that called?
Oh man, what's it called? Because it has to do with the Brown Mountain Lights.
Yes.
Right. I think it's like something like abduction or something.
I think it literally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you told me that one, and I was like, that one is so good. I love that.
It's really good.
But yeah, I was so excited.
You know, one of the things about found footage, you got to find a reason to always have the camera rolling. And the cool thing about that movie is the you know, basically the kid who has a camera, he's neurodivergent. So that's why he's always rolling the camera. He wants to film everything because it's like that's his thing that he's latching onto that he likes. very good reason.
Yeah.
That movie is a great movie.
Yeah.
Fun movie.
Yeah. And
I don't know if we have the title right, but yeah.
I mean, I feel like if people look found footage, alien abduction.
Yeah, Brown Mountain Lights.
Yeah.
Found footage, alien abduction, you'll find it.
Yeah. I'll put like a little thing in the caption. This is actually the movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because we were both fans of the Hell House movies. And there are honestly we pretty much are around the same age range. So like growing up with like the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Stuff like that where it's like such a unique experience because I watched the Blair Witch Project when it came out in theaters.
Yeah,
so like
awesome.
Going into that and then being, I guess like a guinea pig for those types of films was just like such an experience. So I think that my love as well carried over now today. And it's
awesome.
just, oh gosh, yes. Now I did mention at the beginning of this that you are a very talented screenwriter, and I've had the pleasure of reading some of your other, scripts. Are there any stories that you've written previously that you would kind of like love to do, next?
Oh man, I mean, there's two of them that are sort of like my definite babies, but like you've read like What Happened to Johanna. That's definitely one I'd love to do. That's like my favorite script I've written. And The Wolf Spider is definitely one, but those ones are a larger budget. The Wolf Spider is probably the biggest budget without needed that would be needed. And What Happened to Johanna, like they're definitely more so probably not have to, but like would be nice to have a studio come, approach me and say, hey, look, you have a project. And I say, hey, yes, I do. That type of thing.
Like, hey, what do you know?
Yeah.
I read What Happened to Johanna. I remember texting you about it because I read it when I was on a flight and there was a part that happened. And right when that part happened, when I was reading it, we had turbulence. And I said, I got off and I said, Gabe, I don't know what just happened, but that was terrifying. But yeah, I love that one because obviously, like I think I can't wait for you to do that one. But yeah,
oh, sorry, I don't want to.
Oh no, go, yeah.
I was gonna say, so if you're listening and you don't know, so What Happened to Johanna is about a man and his bride who they have like they're on their wedding night. They have like some sinisterly fun, and within the next like 48 hours, like the bride goes missing. And he is trying to figure out like what happened to her and stuff. And there's some really eerie things that are taking place. And so he's like, that's sort of like his journey to figure it out. His best friend is really skeptical, and his best friend's a cop, but is sort of like working the case. And his best friend is skeptical of his motives and stuff. So that's What Happened to Johanna. The Wolf Spider is about a cop who loses her sister. Her sister's murdered by a serial killer who basically, like, his motif, he operates in the characteristics of a wolf spider. And so like she's trying to like figure out, like I said, like these influences being obvious since I was a police officer and stuff, but she's trying to like figure out like, who this killer is and whatnot. So that's what those two movies are about. But yeah, I cut you off. So
oh no, you're good.
What you were gonna say, but yeah.
Oh no, you're good. I get so excited because I've read everything and I'm like, I can't wait for these to get made. Now, I know I focus a lot on horror and stuff, and the thing is you are such a deeply creative person. You do music, and you don't always just stick to horror because you just did, you directed, right, Skate, which is a short that you and Tom Schreck, who also helped with the Gettysburg Haunting, you're going to a festival for that, right? Have you done the festival yet?
We haven't yet.
Okay.
We've been accepted into 3 festivals. One's like one of them we have to be there. There has to be like a representative. Mm-hmm. We don't know the dates yet for like any of them. But one's Red Rose Film Festival. The other one's Alexandria Film Festival, and then this newest one is Wheaton Film Festival. So yeah, and that's us just skateboarding. I used to skateboard, and Tom still skateboards. So he wrote it, directed it, I filmed it, and produced it. So yeah.
As I say, I knew I didn't know exactly. I didn't know if you directed, but yeah, I knew you were heavily involved with that. So I was like, not only are you like super good at horror, you're like very creative overall into, So I think that's so fun, and I wanted to mention that because I was like so proud of you guys when I watched it. It was so good. I used to skateboard actually, and I haven't.
Awesome.
Yeah, I haven't skateboarded in years, and I was like, man, This is making me like inspired to go out there and like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. No, I get that every single time I watch it. I'm like, I want to get on that board. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such, and would you say that like, I guess like if someone is listening and they're like, man, you know, I have all these ideas, would you recommend people to like start with shorts, you know, like start filming, start creating in general?
That is such an interesting question. So when before I decided to actually like have A Gettysburg Haunting be my next project, I had mentioned, I was trying to be repped as a screenwriter, and I had a general meeting that didn't go too well, and I was really, really discouraged actually, and I was like, man, I just want to get out and make something. And so I put a poll on Twitter, not like an actual poll, but I just asked people like, hey, should I make a short film or a proof of concept? If you don't know what a proof of concept is, it's basically a short film of a bigger concept that you have. If you know the movie Saw, why am I drawing a blank of the director? Like I shouldn't be. James Wan, right? So he did a proof of concept of Saw before Saw was made. And then that's what he showed to, I think, studios in the United States. And then, because he's Australian, and then he came over and made it. And so I put that out. And there were a handful, like people were saying like, oh, short film, oh, proof of concept. But there were like a few people that were just like, man, just go out and shoot the feature. Just go out and shoot the feature. And I was like, you know what? Like you can make a lot of short films, right? Short films are good. I'm not saying that you aren't going to get recognized from a short film. I would say it's a lot harder, though, to get recognized for a short film. If you really want to make something, go out and make the feature. You know, whatever, like however you can accomplish it, whether it's, you know, on your iPhone, just have good sound. It's like that's one of the biggest things, is have good sound. But that's what I would say. If you have the means, you know, the ability to do it on an iPhone, or if you have the ability to do it on an Alexa or a Red, go out and do your best to write a feature that you can make. And that's my advice, because that was the advice that it was given to me, that I took and got me to where I'm at now. And it feels pretty good to be where I'm at now. So I want those listening to feel good too. So you can do it. If you want to do it, go do it.
I love that. That's it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were before the episode, we were catching up, and it's just like movies like The Good Boy that you were just mentioning.
Yeah.
Where the couple filmed it over, what you said, 3 years?
I think it was like 3 years is what they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like that. It's a long time. You know, they're filming a movie with their dog in their house, and it's so good. It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes these things just take time. Like if you want to, you know, there's, like I said, like we were just talking about, there's some scripts that I have that are going to take a little bit more, you know, when it comes to like resources and stuff, but do something in the meantime. Like you can have your stuff that, you know, will take more resources, but do something small, you know.
Yeah.
Start with something, and not that a feature's small. I'm just saying smaller resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, like you said, join communities of people who are going to support you as well. I think that's a really big thing, and have people around you who are going to encourage you and cheer you on. You know, because it's always great seeing art get made, you know, in any way, whether it's music, movies, you know, actual like drawings, portraits, stuff like that. So art in general is just such an important thing.
It is.
So now, with that being said, Gabe, because I feel like I've been talking your head off. all morning. I guess to wrap it up, where I guess can people find you on, you know, Twitter, your website, because you also have your own production company, Blackwoods Entertainment. Where can people find you if they want to find your work, your shorts, your music? What websites would you direct people to?
Well, you know, shout out to Blackwoods Entertainment, my production company, but also I want to say shout out to Erica, who is creative director within that company. And shout out to Tom, who is Tom Schrack, president of Blackwoods. So we're all working together to make some cool stuff. But you can go to blackwoodsentertainment.com, on social media, Blackwoods ENTMT, at Blackwoods ENTMT, social media at Gabe Braxton. I try to make it simple, you know, for people to find me if they need to find me. So that's how you can sort of stay up to date with like what we're doing, what we got going on, and yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I was gonna say I think I have in my profile too. I think I have Blackwoods Entertainment in my profiles too.
Yeah.
So if anybody needs to like go check those out, but yeah, please go follow Gabe on everything. He's amazing. He's one of my close friends, and I'm so honored to like just not only be your friend, but to be able to work with you on cool shit. You know, it's like amazing.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah, make movies with your friends.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Like 100%. Like I think to me, like it's such like a fun thing to do. And also it's like obviously stressful too. Obviously I don't want to, paint it like it's this, fairy tale wonderful world. Right. But I will say it is an amazing time, and it has been amazing to watch your work and your visions come to life. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've seen drafts of A Gettysburg Haunting, and I'm like so excited. Yeah.
Well, not only, hey, we didn't even mention Eric is in A Gettysburg Haunting, and she's actually one of the biggest parts of A Gettysburg Haunting. I always like, I don't know, I don't want to give out like too much because a lot of these things are sort of like surprises within the movie and stuff. Yeah. So, Eric is in it. Eric did a fantastic job, a great job, some beautiful shots. When it came to like just makeup and set decoration and just costumes and stuff, Eric is in it and doing some cool stuff. So definitely watch it if you're a fan. You're a fan of Eric because you're listening to this podcast. But shout out to you, Erica. Thank you so much for not only supplying us with snacks but being filmable, if that's a word.
I'll take it. I will say it has been like so hard for me not to like post like behind the scenes because like we've been really trying to keep it kind of like under wraps what I look like. But it is like, I'm telling you guys, I want to shout out to like how incredible this team is that Gabe like kind of put together, because they did such an amazing job with the entire set for my home office, I guess. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like when I saw it, I teared up because I was like, this is just so incredibly like creative and so badass. And for me just to even be like in that scene, I was like, oh. So it is. I've been literally like trying to like not post anything because I'm like dying to.
That's so cool. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean that night when we filmed you at like your office within the movie and stuff, that was special. I mean, I think there was like a silence on set when everybody saw what the production designer Michael Asoka did. We were just like, wow, this is pretty freaking amazing. It was special.
Oh, it's so good. I just can't wait for everybody to see it because it's just like I'm so excited for it, and it's like I'm just so proud of it. I'm so proud of you. I'm just so proud of the entire team. So it's just like
we did good.
But I will say, even though this is the end of this episode, I will say I really want to have Gabe on again, and maybe have Edwin and Jeremy on. Maybe do like a little. I think that would be so. Maybe Tom too, and have like everybody on talk about it. I think it'd be really really fun because I definitely want to ask Edwin about his midnight midnight cookie.
We have stories. There's some stories. There's some funny stories. Yeah.
There's so many good stories. I cannot wait. But so I definitely want to have Gabe on again. Closer to when we Gettysburg Haunting comes out, and maybe in the meantime we'll have him on again to talk about more of your upcoming films, because I know you have so many projects because you're so dang creative.
Thank you.
When it comes to so many things, like even like your music, I was like, is there anything you can't do? Like, geez. Holy cow!
Oil change.
Yeah, he goes and YouTube's it, masters it in an hour. It's fine, no big deal. But Gabe, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk.
Absolutely.
I know I was so excited because I was like, you're kind of being like my little guinea pig today, because this is the first time I've actually done like an interview through my like recording app. So I was like, thank you so much, like not only being my friend, but like just supporting me too. So
absolutely, thank you.
But everybody go follow Gabe, cheer him on. I can't wait for y'all to see his work, Gettysburg Haunting, his music. It's amazing. And if y'all like what you're hearing, make sure to go leave a review on Apple or Spotify. And, go hang out. I do post stuff on YouTube too. So now that I have like the video of Gabe's interview, I'll make sure to post that on YouTube too. But other than that, thanks y'all so much for hanging out with me and Gabe today. It was an amazing time to catch up and, just talk horror, talk A Gettysburg Haunting, talk about all the exciting things that you've got in the works. And shout out to Tom, for being there for both of us, especially for the creative visions for sure. And thanks everybody. Make sure to go follow Gabe. And until next time, take care.